On conservation tourism and generally on the tourism sector, you have heard at this point in time we have been stuck at about 2.5 or so million tourists coming to the country, and also we have a limitation in the advancement of local tourism. And our conversation is not just limited to conservation tourism, which I would understand you meant conservation of wildlife, but also we have conservation of our natural resources, of our wetlands, of our forests, and these are sectors that we would want to explore with regard to tourism. But broadly, even beyond that, we would want our tourism sector to expand to focus on other things: adventure tourism, agricultural tourism. For example, if you go to South Africa, their largest contributor to tourism in South Africa is actually tourism to the wine farms. We have coffee farms, we have farms that grow rice and etc. So what is the strategy? The strategy is to provide incentives that make it possible for people to provide services that will encourage people to go and tour and participate in those areas. Like, for example, in your area where we're talking about the Savo, or if it's the areas where we have wildlife, the government would provide security, ensure that those people who are coming for tourism in that area feel secure enough to go and explore. But we also will provide incentives as the government to small businesses, individuals, and communities that organize this tourism in their areas, giving them incentives on the revenue that they get, ensuring that they have enough tax incentives so that they are willing to put up structures similar, allow me to use the word without necessarily branding, to use the structures like the Airbnb that young people used to book. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you will go and stay in a 5-star hotel, but communities can provide accommodation, for example, where you go and experience how that community lives, how they interact with the wildlife, how they interact with their community, how they conserve their communities, their way of life and their culture. So that incentive structure and ensuring that there is adequate security, and also providing incentives so that communities that are not very well off can provide for the middle and lower class to be able also to go for these tourism excursions, so that instead of spending 10,000 shillings a night, we can have groups, whether it's from university, young people, people from our communities leaving our counties and going to, let's say, the county in like Kipia, and the young people are secured, they're sure that the government is providing adequate security when they go, for example, live with the community, camp out there, find these facilities, because there will be internet. Some of the things that this internet is going to help us do is that you will be able, those people will be able to market the services that they provide, so that you know that they exist, so that you can actually book them and go there. So all these are interrelated with the provision of also the last mile internet connectivity and whatever it is that is going in the tourism sector. Allow me, Your Excellency, to just add one thing on another issue that I think we discussed, and I just want to draw an interlinkage with the issue of debt repayment. Right now we have a problem, a shortage of the foreign exchange. And I just thought it's important that we mention that when you talk about the agricultural sector, and you say that you're going to increase the production, say, of rice. Right now, the importation of rice, wheat, and palm oil, the amount of money that we use to import is about 25% of the foreign exchange that we use foreign exchange that we get in exportation. Yes. Now, if we grow the agricultural sector, I just want to show the linkages. If we increase the production of rice in Mwea, for example, from the current 110 metric tons to, let's say, 220,000 metric tons, you will have enough foreign exchange freed that can go to the contribution of the payment of the debt. So I just thought it's important that I mention that, so that people know that this plan, the Kenya Kwanza government has a plan that has been very well thought out. It's very comprehensive. We have tried to simplify it, but there is actually a plan that interrelates in various value chains, and all of that will result not just in us being able to manage our debt, but also improving the cost of living and contributing greatly to economic growth. Thank you.
Very well put on.
Asante Mutembei, majina yangu ni Zakaria Kariuki Dirango. Karibu sana, hapa ni Kamuru. Kabla hujafika Kamuru shopping center iko between Luai na Kamuru. Hii shamba iko mahali kunaitwa Kipawa. 100 meter kutoka Kangudo Road. Umejionea wewe mwenyewe, kuna supermarket, hii shamba ni next to high school. Yes. So karibu sana Mutembei. Yes.
Nimefurahi sana, kwanza hii area inakaa smart sana. Maybe siku ya leo nataka tueleze viewers tuko hapa kwa sababu gani?
Tunataka tuwaelezee ya kwamba Nairobi bado haijaisha. Nairobi bado kuna plot. Hizi plot ziko constituency ya Kasarani constituency. Yes. So tuko na plot hapa. Yes.